Hi YouTube. Yesterday we watched a new Adam Something video on stream and I thought I'm gonna upload our reaction here because the topic is really interesting and the whole video is amazing. Go subscribe to Adam Something since every video he makes is just insanely good, and leave a like under the original video. Links are in the description. See ya.
Capitalists. Okay, so what are earth scrapers then? An earth scraper is a skyscraper in the ground. So like a big basement? Basically, earth scrapers are a proposed eco-friendly alternative to skyscrapers, those big hunks of glass and steel that waste a ton of energy for heating and cooling. Earth scrapers solve this problem by being underground, thus becoming hugely energy efficient compared to regular skyscrapers.
Well, sounds good on paper, no?
I mean, yeah, but how are
The
you
first meaningful
like the budget to just dig that hole?
Oh yeah, and it's also not good for the environment for sure.
Yeah.
proposal of earth scrapers apparently dates back to 1930s Japan, where large concrete tubes would have provided earthquake-proof housing for people. A more recent and notorious plan for an earth scraper is one proposed under Mexico City's main square by the aptly named bunker architecture firm. According to them, the ambitious plan is a solution that responds to Mexico City's height regulations, limiting new structures to 8 stories in the historic center and the huge demand for centrally located property. Oh, I see. Digging a multiple 100-meter deep hole in the middle of a large city in order to solve the housing crisis has to be the stupidest fucking idea. I'm sorry, I mean, let's see how this proposal stacks up. So let's take an average major urban center. Perpetual housing crisis, real estate prices in the sky, the usual. But then, the city leadership magically grants us the permits and the money to solve the issue with an earth scraper. Go on, champ, start digging. And here we already have the first problem. How the hell are you going to excavate all that soil? You are looking at hundreds of thousands of trips by heavy dump trucks rumbling through the city center all day, every day, for years on end. Way to damage your historical core with all those vibrations. And even if the soil can be shipped away somehow, congratulations, you'll have shut down the most attractive area in your city, likely for more than half a decade, with one massive construction site. But suppose you can somehow build it in a reasonable time frame with minimal disruptions and no collateral damage. So congratulations, you now have your earth scraper. And this is also where your real problems begin. I've identified two main categories of fatal issues here. These are practical and social. And I must say, things get pretty dystopian pretty quickly.
It's gonna be expensive to, like, if they want
Not
to.
only, but it must have problems. Like you're living underground. Surely you don't have enough sun.
Well, yeah, that's one thing, but like, there's also thing like if they want to make the housing in there, like, they are gonna spend so much on the whole thing. Nobody's gonna be buying houses in that thing unless they're just like,
they'll have spent so much money, they'll need to raise the prices a little. So that would not make any sense in a way.
yeah, and like,
if the whole problem is the rising property, this would not solve it, because this just adds more to it. Because
yeah,
you have spent so much money and time. You would want your money.
yeah, I don't.
Skyscraper is, well,
way to go.
living in a giant underground skyscraper. Especially with this rectangular design, these people do realize that the sun doesn't shine at an exact 90-degree angle outside the
That's
equator.
what I'm
so
saying.
to utilize our elementary school geometry skills, large parts of this rectangular structure will be without sun for pretty much the whole year. People getting a bit less sunlight during winter, press F for Finland, is already a major mental health issue. You feel depressed, low energy, generally in a bad mood, and you often need to force yourself to do stuff like chores. Now imagine living like that all year round. The second immediate problem is that the layout of earth scrapers is inherently contradictory. On renders, we see shops on the upper floors, so that means residential units will be on the lower floors. But it's the upper floors that get sunlight, meaning ideally, residential units should be at the top, so they get the most light possible. For shops, sunlight is not necessary. Most stores in malls don't even have windows usually. But if you put shops on the lower floors, they become significantly less attractive. The value of retail space is tied to the amount of foot traffic in front of it. Imagine having to take 3 separate elevators 40 stories down for 15 minutes just so you can get to H&M or something, and then do the same routine on the way back once you realize that the clothes they are selling are synthetic, ill-fitting shit. So either you have stores with an okay foot traffic with thousands beneath living in darkness, or you have apartments with an okay amount of light
Cave mentioned
hundreds of dead empty stores. This whole pyramid layout also cuts down on your useful residential space. Every single living unit can only have one side facing the shaft, so option 1 is to make them very long with only one room getting light sunlight, and with that you can cram in a ton of units, easing the housing crisis. Option 2 is to widen the unit sides facing the shaft so more than one room can get sunlight, but that severely cuts down on the number of units, so you're not really helping the housing situation. Normal buildings solve this problem by not being underground, thus being surrounded by light and fresh air on all sides. And my god,
Technically, you can use synthetic light, but that's also
Yeah, but that's not good as well. That's why he mentioned. That's why he mentioned having the houses on top, because when you are getting some sunlight and like
you're getting most of it.
yeah, even like I was in the mall that had windows in it, right? And even in the middle of the day, every single light is just every single light is just on. They're not using any sunlight in there. So
Yeah.
but yeah, then you have to take the elevator to just one fucking store that you want. And the elevators will be packed as well.
Oh, for sure. And depends how many elevators can you fit in that thing. And
Yeah.
and also, what does happen if an earthquake was to hit? Surely the elevators, I don't know, at least.
I mean, the whole thing is gonna be.
No, because people said that at first this was supposed to be built against earthquakes.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they're not really affected by them, but maybe they.
I mean, they are definitely affected, but there are probably some kind of like materials. There's probably some kind of material or basically a way to build them so that
Maybe
they
the
are
weight
not
was
affected.
built.
Yeah. Because like even if caves, like this is the main issue with caves, that whenever the earthquake happens, the cave is moving slightly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, they definitely have to take that to an account.
Oh fuck.
what happens during a fire? Say some of the machinery catches fire on the lower floors, so you have a gigantic column of smoke coming up, filling the entire shaft. Even if the lid above would open up somehow to let it out, the smoke would still be streaming up, suffocating everyone along the way. Also, guess what kind of technology you're not supposed to use during a fire? Elevators. So if there is a fire below you, and you also happen to live on the lower floors, have fun climbing 50 plus stories on various stairs in increasingly hot staircases as the air around you fills with smoke. These are some of the immediate issues with trying to actually inhabit an earth scraper. But there are other significant problems as well. This is where things get rather disturbing, by the way.
Oh, wait.
Well,
Isn't that from Stray? But no, it isn't. But it looks so good, this image.
Yeah.
On the political spectrum, tech bros skew heavily towards right libertarianism. Their ideal world is a tech fetishist dystopia ruled by a narrow elite of visionary billionaires, where the everyday person is granted a mathematical chance to hustle and grind set their way into the upper class. In such societies, social mobility though is nearly zero. That means those who are born poor will die poor, with very, very few exceptions. Now, tech bros' tech fetishism is not due to their love for tech. Technology is just a means to get what they really want, which is becoming the new ruling class in their dystopian world. Just like how royalty were replaced by industrialists at the top, who were then replaced by neoliberal corporatists, tech bros dream of replacing the latter as technocrat oligarchs. All those pointless gadgets they keep dreaming up, all their solutions to problems that have already been solved, have one thing in common, and besides being stupid. They are all attempts to get rich by privatizing and financializing various aspects of our lives. When Elon Musk promoted the Boring Company loop, his goal was not to solve traffic. He wanted to own the roads, to financialize and privatize them, so he gets to collect user fees. When Doug Evans came up with the Juice Arrow, his goal was not to provide you with convenient access to fresh juice. He wanted to insert himself between you and your foodstuff, so he can sell you fruit in a proprietary format at a hefty premium. Would you be surprised to learn that when tech bros bring up earth scrapers as a solution for cities, their goal is not to provide you with affordable housing? So we better ask the question, what is their deal? In old Budapest, before and between the two world wars, there existed an enormous enormous real estate bubble, during which developers went and built up every single square meter of the city core with brand new apartment buildings commonly referred to as rental palaces by locals. The buildings were not tall, 4 or 5 stories at most usually. Very often the top floor contained the most valuable floor space, huge luxury apartments, sometimes spanning the whole floor with a great view of the city far above the dirt and commotion of the narrow, dark streets. The apartments below were often smaller and less valuable. Such buildings became symbols of inequality at the time, with the top 10% residing in urban palaces while tens of thousands lived in shack tenements at the edges of the city or dark, damp, dingy apartments without indoor plumbing even. Those at the top, literally so, had access to sunlight, fresh air, safety, and a nice panorama. Those at the bottom had none of those things. And the Earth Scraper recreates this exact same hierarchy only with a thin, techno-futurist coat of paint. Do you like sunlight, fresh air, proximity to the surface? Let's hope you can afford it, buddy. Otherwise, down you go into the goon pit. But hey,
Whoa.
even if you live on the lower levels in one of our economy suites, you can still get a sunlight subscription. For just $99 a month, we'll aim one of the mirrors at the top at your
We
window,
love sunlight.
providing you with
We
digital
love
light for 4
subscriptions in
hours per
general.
day. Do you
Sunlight.
think this is absurd? Far-fetched? Why would you? If corporations can control your food, housing, healthcare, education, and so on, why couldn't they also control the amount of sunlight you get? Inside an Earth Scraper owned and run by a bunch of tech bros looking to get rich, that is certainly a possibility. This is what tech pro innovations are essentially about: taking away well-functioning things or even basic human needs, then reintroducing them with a fake, futuristic varnish. The brand new quote-unquote innovation is more impractical and very expensive compared to the thing it replaces, but tech bros get to make a lot of money on it. Juicero is just a worse fruit press where Doug Evans gets to charge you more for fruit juice. The Robo-Van is just a worse bus where Elon Musk gets to charge you more for a ticket. The Zoox Robo-Taxi is just a worse taxi where Jeff Bezos gets to charge you more for a ride. Telosa is just a worse city where Mark Lohr gets to charge you more for living in it. And in the same vein, Earth Scrapers are just worse buildings where a bunch of tech bros can and will inevitably charge you for basic necessities like sunlight. Earth Scrapers are complete architectural nonsense. They are the building equivalent of that goddamn folding door. Oh
No.
yeah, I love getting my hand accidentally squished between the two large panels
the
that act like a
fuck?
scissor right at chest level. Clearly our current concept of doors is completely unsatisfactory and is in sore need of innovation.
So
Okay,
stupid.
so Earth Scrapers are not a solution for the housing crisis affecting our cities. How do you actually solve the housing crisis then? In city centers, land is usually all built up, existing buildings are protected, and height is strictly regulated, so it's impossible to add more housing. So what do we do? Alright, ready? Build more city centers. Wait, we can just do that? Yeah, of course. If you have one place in your city where a lot of people want to live and it gets full, you go and build more places like that. Do so at a human scale, designed for people, not cars, and with aesthetically pleasing architecture. Put public services and amenities in the area. Make it easily reachable. There you go, you have successfully divided demand between two places, thereby easing the housing crisis. Heidelberg in Germany, where I used to study, did something like this recently. The old town there is highly sought after and extremely expensive, so the city built a whole new center nearby called Bahnstadt next to the train station. Friendly, modern, walkable, easily accessible, with a bunch of amenities, public services, entertainment, even a little creek going through it, and a central square in the middle where people can gather. And there is a similar development in neighboring Mannheim called Franklin, being built on the site of a former US military barracks. Not to be confused with Do Not Eat City Skylines project. And next to Franklin there is a whole other neighborhood rising from nothing. Such places, if well built, will be centers of their own, helping to take the load off the original city core. This is how you solve the perpetual housing crisis there, not by entombing thousands of people in an underground tech pro dystopia. And I thank you for watching. If you like my content, please consider...
Thank you for making the video, Mr. Adam.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's like also so easy to fix, and that's like, I feel that that's the main issue with those tech bros, because they are basically doing some cool, like let's be real, this stuff sounds cool and looks cool, like the cyber bus or whatever it's called, or the robot taxi. Like it looks cool and futuristic, but it's so impractical and so unnecessary.